Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So what's playing behind me is a video of me doing a graffiti piece in VR of my street art name, Gaff. And I thought it would be nice for this video to share with you guys how I got that graffiti name. I started doing graffiti at about 8 years old. I wanted to be just like my older brother. We shared a bedroom and he's doing graffiti. So just like a little kid, I'm like, hey, like, what are you doing? What are you drawing? Oh, I'm doing graffiti. Like, do you want to try? How do I do it? And he says, well, you just write your name. I'm like, oh, I don't have like a tagging name. And he says, well, you could just write your name, like your name Ivan. So I did, and it was just like the most ugly tag ever. And at that moment, I clearly remember just falling in love with this new craft. I felt like, whoa, like this is what I was meant to do. So I kept at it. I told my brother, because he always said, when you're older, I'll take you out. That was his way of saying no to me at the time because I was young. So I was 10 years old. I woke him up one night at like 2 in the morning and I'm like, hey, let's go tag. And he got up out of bed. He packed the bags of paint and we snuck out and we went to go do graffiti. It was really cool. In high school, that's all I had. Growing up was like, graffiti was all I had. And I knew that was what like sort of made me different. Me and my friends sort of formed our own little cluster and we were like the graffiti guys. So in high school, I wanted to, be popular or whatever. So I started doing graffiti, just wrecking the school. I mean, like really like wrecking the school. Like slap tags, streaks, marker tags. I was taking spray cans to school so that I could hit up on the way home. What happens though with things like graffiti is that it comes from in an illegal standpoint. You end up causing a lot of attention to yourself. School officials started catching on to, at the time I wrote also, ALSOE, who was this kid, he's destroying school property. I eventually got caught. I got expelled. I got 2 years of probation. I got 100 hours of community service, a little over $5,000 in damages, and everything the court gave me, my mom gave me. So if I had to do 100 hours of community service, I now have to do 200 hours of community service. I'm a man of faith, so even through all this trouble, I'm sitting in church one day and they're talking about David and Goliath. And I'm kind of over it just because I'm like, man, I just got in all this trouble. I got so much stuff like weighing over me. Pastor's talking about David and Goliath and I was like, oh yeah, it's a great story. I've heard it plenty of times. But then he starts going in depth to like the background, the backstory of Goliath. My ears kind of perked up. I was like, oh, I've never heard this. And he starts saying that Goliath wasn't the only giant. He has, I think, like 3 or 4 brothers, and they're all giants, and they're from this city, and they're all giants. So I was like, I've never heard this part of the story. What is this, like, this city of giants? Everyone from this region is stronger, faster, bigger, could jump higher. It's just all around bigger, giant people. And I was waiting, I was like, well, what's the name of this city? What is the name of it? And my pastor says that the name of the city is called Gath, and it's like the city of giants. So I was like, Gath. I was like, damn, that sounds kind of cool actually, like Gath. It almost sounds like goth, like gothic. So it kind of has like a dark undertone. I started looking at the letters because graffiti writers will look at letter flow, G-A-T-H. And I was like, oh wow, these are very strong letters. So all these letters, I was like, dang, this is like a very dominant name. This sounds like very like strong. Gath. I didn't like that it was 4 letters. I was like, oh, there needs like a 5th letter. So I added the E at the end. It's almost like a rectangle, like a square. It's unmovable. So putting the E at the end, it put my T right in the middle, which was like a perfect place for the T just because you get that symmetry. The A reflects the H, which was kind of crazy, and my G, I've actually now been able to mimic my G, like mirror it with my E. So this name was just like perfectly symmetrical, very strong visually, and I was just like, holy crap, this is my new name. social media came around, I had to find like a social media name for myself, and I had this whole story about giants and the city of giants. So I was coming up with my Instagram name, and I was like, oh, what about TheWalkinGiant? Honestly, it was just a fun, kind of dumb name. I made it right there on the spot, and it just sort of stuck though. Everyone I showed it to, everyone I mentioned it to thought it was cool, and now that's what turned into the brand now, which is, you know, Walking Giants.